and move on to Goodison Park, my friend. I'll move on to Goodison Park. Really good game, actually. I mean, a game weekend, mate, full of goals this weekend. I don't know what quite was in the water. It ended up Everton 2, Tottenham 2. Richarlison in really good form, a couple of really nice one-touch finishes for Tottenham, and the non-celebrations against the Everton team was good to see. He's obviously got a lot of respect for Everton. From Everton's point of view, get a goal back through Jack Harrison. Again, goalkeepers, Rob Vicario in that situation. You know, we'll maybe talk about that. And then Jared Branthwaite, who's an absolute little diamond, or big diamond, should say, for Everton. Came late, got a header. It was a really important point, I thought, for Everton in a tough game against a Spurs team that getting bodies back and starting to look a little bit like that team we saw early in the season. So, good point for Everton. Big disappointment, I thought, for Spurs, because a chance for them to, you know, cement a place in the top 4. Where are we with the Everton kind of push against relegation, and where are we with Ange, Rob? Because it was interesting. 2 set pieces Spurs conceded, and is there a sense of, for all the great football, at some point you've got to defend better? I mean, we're looking today about the goals against. It is, you know, quite more than anybody else up there in the top 6. For a team who want to win things and outside chance it before this, people are talking about titles. Does something have to change? Does it have to be a little tweak?
Well, let me start with Everton, Rob. And I loved the Everton performance. There's nothing. We all listen. You know more than anybody else, Rob, that I love the beautiful game, right? I'm a bit of a purist. You know, I maybe because of the way I was a player. You know, I wasn't that type of guy. So when I see that sort of football, I love it. And I of course, I study the game, and I love the tactical side of things. So I love the silky side of football. But I tell you what, I like watching Everton. Everton's effort, the energy, the never giving up, the pushing right till the end, the physicality around the goalkeeper, Branthwaite stepping up there, the fan support, the protest before the game. I love the feisty nature of Everton. I love their performance. All my notes are things like determination, passion, you know, amazing drive, totally deserve the point, never look like giving up.
Send that note to Chelsea, by the way. Can you send that note to Stamford Bridge?
Well, that's 1,000,000%. That's the steal that they need a little bit of that. So I like watching Everton. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin looks like he's struggling for confidence, which is not great. I think they missed Onana in midfield. They missed Decore as well, Amadou Decore. They missed those 2 powerhouses in the midfield, and still they keep going, and still they go forward. They made it a really difficult game for Tottenham, Rob. And there aren't many teams that do that, because Spurs football is often so good, so slick. But I never really. My Tottenham notes are things like Mickey van der Ven, and I think it was John Champion who called him the Flying Dutchman. His speed, again, as we jumping off, is my jaw open when I watch him make recovery runs. He has the ability to play offside, right? And if the play goes on, he can sprint back anyway. So I love watching him. You know, I looked at it late on, Rob, and I see that what's his name? I got his Radu Dragusin, the new centre back they bought in, the Romanian, I think. Dragusin came on. I'm like, that kind of makes sense. You know, the last 5 or 10 minutes from Ange, shore it up, 5 across the back, and they still conceded that late set piece goal with Branthwaite. So they're still a work in progress, and I think he would say that. I think Maddison and Van der Ven coming back is big. I think Everton away is just a difficult game, Rob. Everton away is a difficult game. And Richarlison, the other thing really that I've made note of is finishes and how he looks different. I mean, he's the finish on his first one, and just a little bit of class, a little bit of composure. He looks a different player, and he's one of those that you can see what his confidence is like by watching him run around a little bit. And his head, so often his head goes down when he gives a... But he looks good. So Heung-min-son to come back. The players get him fit again. Basuma, I think, has always missed in the middle of the park. Even though I kind of like what Bentancur does. Højbjerg does his thing. And I prefer... I'm a fan of Brennan Johnson, but I still prefer Kulusevski, I think, on that wide position. So they're in a good spot at Spurs. They're a couple of points behind Aston Villa. But it was more about Everton for me, Rob. And the 10 points... They're going to wait to hear back from that. Then they're going to wait to hear if they're going to get another deduction on the... So I enjoyed Everton's fight. And, my last Premier League minutes were at Everton, and not a bad place to bow out at Everton because of what it is as a stadium. The fans are like 5 yards away from you, and they're an aggressive bunch. They're a lively bunch, and the team play with that. The manager's perfect for them right now. I know they're in the throes of a relegation fight.
They're in the bottom three now.
Still in the bottom three.
Yeah, 19 points. But it was interesting, Rob, because it's similar to you, and I sort of said to Bex, this is a game about structure and organisation against fluidity and spontaneous and rotations. And I said, and it was interesting because I said, in a strange way, Bex, it's harder to do what Deitch does with his set of players than Ange. Ange, listen, you got possession. I think it's pleasing. I know he's looking for rotations, but I want to play. Everybody wants to play like Ange with freedom and you know, expressing yourself. I think for Deitch, he has to keep working in a certain way. You know, players have to be in certain positions. We have to be well set up, and then we break, and then we. And I just think it's a really hard job that he does. That he gets a tune out of his players every week. And listen, some days it doesn't quite work. And if they hadn't got the 10 points, we wouldn't be talking in the same way. But I just think, like you, he deserves. He deserves a little bit of credit for what they're doing and the way they are. They're so short of confidence in the attack. Beto comes on and looks a bit clumsy. I know people thought it was a penalty. I wasn't so sure about that one. Calvert-Lewin thinks he's scored and ends up coming off Harrison, so he doesn't get his goal. I think that's 17 games now, Rob. In all competitions, he's not scored. Okay. And as you say, I think that starts to get in his head. So they're going to have to work with him. They're going to have to give him the confidence. So, I thought it was a hard-earned point, but a well-earned point for Everton. Yeah, absolutely. Just from Spurs' point of view, Rob, and Richarlison in the goals, and now he's confident, and I think it was his 9th Premier League goal of the season. Sonny comes back, my friend. Sonny comes back. Where does Sonny go, and where does Richarlison go in that situation? I mean, have we got to be careful that we don't automatically take attention away from Richie again and we go back to the frustrated, not scoring? Or how can we dovetail that we get the best from both of them? Can Sonny still come from one of those wider positions as he did like under Kane and still be as dangerous?
I think so. I think he comes straight in on the left-hand side, Rob. I said this a while back. If Richarlison can be a central player that can score a regular goals, which he's absolutely doing right now, that's huge for Tottenham. Because then you put another goal scorer on the left-hand side. You've got a creative player now fit again in James Maddison. And for me, you play Kulusevski on the left side. So a 4-2-3-1 with Hummels on the left, Maddison, Kulusevski, Richarlison. Right. I think that's what the fans... Kulu's on the right, Richarlison up front, a confident Richarlison that will link now with Heung-min-son. You've got James Maddison to roll balls. Where Richarlison's good is he gets on the half turn, so his shoulders facing the goal. You can see the goal, but he also sees the pass. And Maddison's brilliant at those. You've got the runs from outside of Heung-min-son. You've got the creativity and the little link-up play of Kulusevski. I just think that's exciting for Spurs fans, and I as a fan of the game, I want to see it. I want to see it. So I don't think that's a hard question, Rob. I know Werner's done okay. He got a couple of assists, didn't he, during the week? A couple of crosses that led to goals. Fair play to Werner, and it's a good little. I don't know. He's a good player to have in the club until the end of the season. If Richarlison goes quiet, Son might go up front. Werner comes left, or Werner goes up front. It's a good acquisition, but Son back on the left, Richarlison up front. That with Maddison prompting, I still think. And Van der Ven fit now, Romero's fit now. You got a Dragishin as another central defender. Porro's excellent. Udogie had a weird game. So I think that Tottenham's best, and I want to see it now. Between now and the end of the season, particularly when Heung-min-son comes back, they can kick on. They can kick on, and they can overcome Villa for me. They can overcome Aston Villa in that top four. It's going to be an amazing race, but I want to see the best.
Yeah, there's going to be a race for that one, top four.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.